everyone and welcome back to the YouTube channel. I am Rida Olabisi. For the first time, I would need you to smash that subscribe button, okay? So a couple of people asked me to make a video about CIPM and that's what I'll be doing today. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the examination calendar, how to prepare for your exams, the exam fee for all the stages, the induction fee, the membership dues. Every single thing that you need to know about CIPM will be discussed in this video. So the first thing that is very important for you to know is that CIPM is the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management. So it is a professional exam for HR professionals. The way we have, say, ICANN for accountants, we have CIPM for HR professionals. That's like the easiest way for me to explain it, right? So, and there are different routes for you to become an associate or a member of the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management. So we have the practitioners route, we have the executive route, we have the academic route, and we have the membership by examination. And membership by education is like the most popular. That's the one I also did. I completed my examinations already and I'll be inducted next month, which is in May. So as I said, there are different routes. So for the practitioners route, you need at least 7 years minimum experience for you to be able to take this route, become an associate or a member of CIPM. Now for the executives route, you need at least 12 years minimum experience to become a member. Then the academic route is for VCs, HODs, deans, and academics like that. I think by now you should understand why the membership by examination is the most popular amongst all the routes, because if you finish from university or if you finish from a secondary school, even you can start to take your CIPM examination and be chartered when you complete all the stages. Now, if you want to become a member of the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management, there are like different stages that you have to go through, right? So there are 6 stages in all. We have the Foundation 1, Foundation 2, we have Intermediate 1, Intermediate 2, then we have the Professional 1, Professional 2. Now, before you can take these different stages, there are some things that you need to note. Now, it doesn't mean that every single person is going to take 6 stages. I personally took 3 stages and I'm going to go to the details in a bit. Foundation 1 is for people who have completed their SSCE, right? Foundation 2 is for OND and NCE graduates. Intermediate 1 now is for people who have completed their bachelor's degree and their HND degrees. But aside from Intermediate 2, now Intermediate 2 is for people who have completed courses in social sciences, humanities, or courses that are related to human resource management. So for someone like me, I studied a course in the humanities faculty, right? So I was eligible to start from Intermediate 2. So if you say you have just an SSC, you have to start from Foundation 1, then go to all the other stages. But if you have an OND or an NCE, you start from Foundation 2. If you have your bachelor's degree or your HND degree, say in sciences, for example, you have to start from Intermediate 1. But for someone like me who studied a course in humanities, I was able to start from Intermediate 2. So the level of academic qualification you've achieved determines what stage that you start from. So for people who have completed a master's degree, for example, they are going to start from Professional 1, which means that they will take only Professional 1 and Professional 2. Now for people who have completed a master's degree in a non-relevant course, say sciences, for example, you have to start from Intermediate 2 because the course you have taking is not related to human resources or social sciences in any way. But if you have done, say, a master's in business administration, a master's in human resource management, or a master's in a course that is similar or relevant to human resource management, you can start from Professional 1. So those are the stages. The last stage is Professional 2. Everybody has to take Professional 2. You can't be exempt, except you are taking another route which is not the route of membership by examinations. So if you're not going to start from the beginning, it means that you've been exempted from some stages. So for example, I started from Intermediate 2, which means I was exempted from Foundation 1, Foundation 2, and Intermediate 1. So I skipped 3 stages. So for that, you are going to pay an exemption fee. Now the exemption fee differs per stage. The exemption fee is just a one-off payment. You are going to pay just once. So I started from Intermediate 2. My exemption fee was 17,800, excluding bank charges. Every fee or payment I'm going to mention is excluding bank charges, right? So for Intermediate 2, the exemption fee is 17,800. So when I registered for my examination, I paid 17,800 as exemption fee from all the stages that I have been allowed to skip because I studied a course in the humanities. So if you also studied a course in social sciences, for example, you can start from intermediate 2 and you're going to pay an exemption fee. So if, for example, you're starting from intermediate 1, there is also an exemption fee. If you're going to start from foundation 2, there's also an exemption fee. If you're going to start from professional 1, there's also an exemption fee, and it's just a one-off payment. So the exemption fee for foundation 2 is 40,640. The exemption fee for intermediate 1 is 16,200. The exemption fee for intermediate 2, as I mentioned earlier, is 17,400 naira. And the exemption fee for professional 1 is 19,440. Note, excluding bank charges, because the moment you add bank charges to these things, you know the amount will go up. So those are the exemption fees for the different stages of the CIPM examinations. Moving forward, it is also important for you to know that the first time that you are registering to take your examination, you are going to pay an application fee of 5,000 naira, right? So at the end of this video, we are going to calculate all of these things so you can know the total cost to expect. So you are going to pay application fee of 5,000 naira. There is also membership dues of 15,000 naira. That is to be paid per year, right? So usually for that membership due, you can skip it until you are writing the last stage of your exam. So for example, I started my exam from intermediate 2, right? So I wrote my intermediate 2 exam, I wrote my professional 1 exam, and I did not have to pay my membership due. So it was when I was writing the final stage, which is the professional 2 exam, that I was required to pay my membership due. Then every other year subsequent to when you've completed your examinations, you'll be expected to pay a sum of 15,000 naira for your membership due. So now let's go into examination prep. So it is very important for you to know that different things work for different people. There are people who do not necessarily have to have tutorials and things like that, and then they will write the exam and pass. And there are some set of people who need tutorials to pass the exam. So for example, I was working full-time when I started taking my professional exams, which means I did not have time to really focus on studying, right? So what I did was to pay for tutorials. Now, tutorials has their own costs separately from the amount that you are paying for CIPM. Although usually CIPM recommends that you use a study center that is accredited by them. All you can do is go to cipm.org, or is it .com now, and check for the list of accredited study centers. And if you want to use a study center in order to prepare for your examinations, you can look at the list of accredited study centers on there and then pick one and then use that to prepare for your exams. But I personally used a tutorial, and the tutorial was also money, right? So for different stages I had to pay money. For my intermediate 2, I paid 20,000 naira. For my professional 1, I paid 30,000 naira. For my professional 2, I paid 25,000 naira. So if you notice all this money that I'm mentioning left and right, at the end of the day, when you sum it up, you actually be surprised at how much that you spend in total. But tutorials is not compulsory for everybody. You do what works for you. Also, CIPM provides study packs and past questions for you to practice with. So if you don't want to use a tutorial, or if you don't want to use a study center, you can just use the study packs and the practice question that CIPM provides for you, and you can write your exams and you will be fine. Just make sure you do what works for you. So we're going to go into the examination bit now. So now, I think the fortunate thing about CIPM is that the examinations are online. So it's very possible that you don't physically go to a study center, or you don't even physically go for your exams, because everything is online. I did not have to physically go anywhere. So all you have to do to register is go to their website, pay your application fee, start studying for your exams. You write your exams. If you pass, fine. If you don't pass, you have to resit your exam. And when you fail your exam and you have to resit, you have to repay a certain amount to resit those exams. And if you not clear the papers in this stage, you cannot move to the next stage. I almost forgot to mention the examination calendar. The exam is written 4 times in a year. So we have the March diet, we have the June diet, we have the September diet, and then we have the December diet. So there are about 4 diets. It's not there are 4 diets in a year. So you can say, if you are starting from intermediate 2, for example, you can actually complete your exams in a year, provided that you pass all your papers at once. Because the moment you start to fill the paper, you have to resit it, to mean that you have to postpone it to the next diet. So if you're failing your papers, you'll not be able to complete it in a year. But if you don't have any issues and you're a genius and you do not fail any of your papers, then you can complete it in a year, depending on the stage that you are starting from. Okay, so I was talking about the examination itself. So for the examination, as I was mentioning, it is online and you'll be sent the login details to your examinations about 24 hours to the commencement of the examination. Also about a week or 5 days to that examination date, you'll be required to do some sort of pretest and some sort of preparation to make sure that the laptop that you have is compatible for the software that you will use for the examination. Now, you don't need to panic. There is an email that would explicitly explain everything you need to set up on your laptop. So a major disclaimer is that you cannot take the examination on your phone. You have to use a working laptop, and during the examination you'll be monitored through a webcam, which means that you cannot try to be smart or try to cheat. There are people who have been caught for malpractices, and there are different penalties for malpractice. It could be that you are banned forever from taking the exam, some is suspension for 2 years, some of them they will withhold your results and you have to rewrite the paper in the next diet. So depending on the nature of your malpractice, that will determine the kind of penalty that you get. So don't try to cheat, okay? Just study for your exams and write it and pass, because your webcam, the camera on your laptop will be on and you'll be monitored throughout the duration of your exam. Don't feel smart, read for your exams. Alright, so let's just do a quick calculation of the total amount that I spent on my own examination. Note that I started from intermediate 2, which means that if you're starting from foundation 1, you are going to spend more money than I did. Or if you are going to start from, say, professional 1, it means that you are going to spend less money than I did. Okay, so let's go into the details. So for my intermediate 2 exam, I spent 46,560 and I paid also 20,000 naira for my tutorials, and I also paid 5,000 naira for my application fees, right? So we would add that with my professional 1 exam, which was 51,240. My tutorials was 30,000 naira. So my professional 2 exam was 56,040 naira plus 25,000 naira for my tutorials. Then the exemption fee I paid for my intermediate 2 was 14,640. Then we're going to also add my membership due of 15,000 naira. Then my registration fee of 5,000 naira, and then induction fee, which swallows everything up, of 101,500. So that comes to a total of 364,980. So if I'm going to round it up, I basically spent a total of 365,000 naira on CIPM. Think about it. Is that not a lot? That's a lot of money. That's actually a lot of money, right? But that was the total that I spent on my CIPM exams. So if you notice, I mentioned induction fee, which is 101,500. So now the induction fee is what you pay in order to get your license. So after you've completed all your examinations and you've passed, you get an email that says that you've been invited for an induction. I think about 2 or 3 days ago, I got an email that I've been invited for my induction, which is next month, May, and then the cost was there and everything was a total of 101,500. Now for the induction, if say you don't have the money or if you're not ready, you can postpone it, so that like inductions different times of the year, so you don't have to do your induction immediately. But I'm doing my own next month, right? So you can postpone yours. But the downside to that is that you will not get a license until you do your induction, right? But what's the point of writing your exams if you're not going to be inducted, and if you're not going to get a license? Then all the money you spent on your exams is just, a waste. But if you want to save towards your induction fee, then you can kind of delay your induction until when you have the money. So that has brought us to the end of today's video. Do not forget, if you have any questions at all about the videos I make on this channel, send me a DM on Instagram. I respond to every single message that I get. My handle is ruda.o. Do not forget to smash that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up.